Gentlemen, after a fantastic and emphatic response to my last video, which I thank you for to a tremendous extent, I got a comment from one of you beautiful chaps that said, can you make a video on tips you used for self-improvement and what you particularly focused on? And what I'll say to you, good sir, is of course I can. That is why we're here. The three things that I found the most valuable and the most progressive on my own journey are as follows. First of all, I came from a background in my self-improvement progress where I started as a fat bastard. I was way too overweight when I started my own self-improvement journey. I was 3 stone more than I weigh now. And this was really the instigator of my change. Now, what I will caveat this with immediately is if you're someone who's maybe underweight or you're fine in your weight or just generally you're not coming from the same position as I am, this is still applicable to you. What I will say is, first of all, an invaluable thing that you can do for yourself is improve your physical circumstance even one step further than what it is now. Now, what I will say to start this off is this really doesn't need to be as grandiose as some people make it. I'm personally a massive fan of David Goggins. You don't need to follow to such a strict extent of running every single day. You don't want to do that to start out. What you want to do is you want to find one window of opportunity in your entire week, if you're starting from scratch, and put one activity in here. Now, the one that I used, the one that was fantastic for me, was crunches, because crunches are quite easy. You can bang out quite a lot of them. And from the perspective I was coming from, I needed to lose weight and I needed to do it around my middle. So what I will say to you is the first thing that is fantastic to do is get a understanding and begin to get a control of your health. Now, equally well, what I'll say with this is, though I'm not someone to give dietary advice, I put myself on a 500 calorie less diet. So for those of you that might be coming from a similar place to what I was coming from, that is also a good rule of thumb. What I would then say as well is a fantastic thing to put into your day, and what really, really took me to another level on this, was the implementation of delayed gratifying acts. Now, what do I mean by that? The first thing I put into my day, and actually the real first step towards the self-improvement journey, was the cold shower. Now, it's been done to death. You will have heard about the cold shower before, but why is the cold shower so valuable? Well, I found that to put into my day something that did have no immediate benefit of the fact that when I was in the water, I couldn't feel any euphoria of, wow, look what I've done. I was cold as fuck. So to put that into your day, to be able to start grasping the concept of, I am doing this thing now so that in a later portion of my life, on a later stage, I can have a greater product. And what I will tell you, as someone who has done cold showers for, I believe, 3 years every single day now, I cannot tell you how much value this has over the long term. Now, I don't want you, if you're someone who hasn't done this, I do not want you to immediately go, oh my God, I've got to get 3 years down the line to do this. No, it starts on the first day. When you do the cold shower, you immediately start ingraining in yourself a really strong and valuable lesson. And what I'll tell you as well is, it's all too easy to try and scoot and navigate your way around things like the cold shower because it fucking sucks. So what I'm going to tell you is, as someone who does it for 3 minutes a day, which is a good amount, and as much as you would want to go, if you do not feel like 3 minutes a day is something that you can immediately put yourself towards, then do 30 seconds. And I will tell you now, as to remove the bitch mind that may reside in your head as it does all of our heads, you can do 30 seconds in that cold shower. So do 30 seconds in a cold shower every day, preferably in the morning. What I will add to that as well, to tie in your morning routine, is make your bed. Every morning, make your bed. Make your bed well. And I can tell you as well, this is something that it might start off taking quite a long time to do, but it takes me about 3 minutes now to do my bed. And it's a fantastic routine and regiment to put yourself into. And what it tells you, I won't even say subconsciously, it tells you exactly, is that you're someone that's worth putting time towards and respects themselves. You take care of your surroundings. And it teaches you as well to respect yourself. This might sound trivial, but it does. You're really recognizing that you're someone that, before their day has even begun, has put themselves through a period of difficulty as to attain a goal in the future, and also takes care of themselves and takes care of what it is that's in their surroundings. These two things are what I would absolutely consider the cornerstones of my own journey, and they still stand to this day. Years down the line, they have been really quite fantastic pieces of my own journey, and I would recommend these absolutely. Now, what I'll go on to here as well is the fact that when I first started my journey, I was someone who was greatly interested in music. Now, I was in a state at the time when obviously I really wasn't particularly happy because I was a fat fuck and I had no routine, no regimen, and I just wasn't particularly happy. And what I found myself doing was I started writing just the way that my thoughts were percolating in a more cohesive manner. And that turned out to be rap. Now, you might look at me now and go, what? White boy rapping? Yeah, I do like Eminem. Yes, I do. And point is, when I first started this was something that really elevated me to come away from someone who just sat in bed, did nothing all day, didn't have any impetus, drive, and it really taught me how to put myself towards something and to dedicate time in the effort of improving myself. Now, the lesson, the kind of what I'll give this to you as, is learning. Having a purpose is 100% the most valuable thing I have ever learned. To have a purpose and to have something that you really put yourself towards and make your day around. You know, when I was first doing my music and for the duration of my music, I would spend pretty much all of my time either writing notes or looking at things or listening to something. It was where my thoughts went. Now, immediately, I'm going to say this just so that no one gets disheartened. If you don't know what you could do that is neighbouring this, I have a fantastic start for you, good sir. Learn anything. Now, when I mean learn anything, I really mean learn anything. There is a paragraph sort of thing that I've put in the comments here that I think will probably explain this a bit better than I can because it's written. I'll put that in there for you, so if you want to look through that, please do. But what I will essentially say in this is, when you learn things, you immediately elevate your mind. You immediately put yourself in a more advantageous position to take on the world and really be happy. And this is honestly, from the bottom of my heart, the more that you learn, you will find yourself moving through these scenarios where things might not be so comfortable because you're learning stuff. But, pardon me, the pursuit of knowledge really is the key to self-improvement. I feel as though above the kind of delayed gratification, hardening the soul and making the body good, I think actually learning is the most valuable lesson. And the beauty of learning as well is the fact that it's not selective to reading a book. There is a infinite source of being able to teach yourself and find things out and learn about things. It will never be a dry reservoir. It can come in the form of meditation, something I would also advocate, but if you haven't done the first few things here, we'll talk about that in another video. Or it could be the pursuit of, you could listen to a podcast about something that you're interested in, or you could listen to a podcast that you don't even know about. Just put a podcast on. You could learn in the process of putting on a podcast you don't like, the fact that you don't like that content. And in that, you now know something you don't like, so you've learned. I think learning is the key, and more specifically, I'd say purpose. I think learning what your purpose is probably the best. I think it's kind of essentially the goal of self-improvement, because purpose is what affords you happiness. And let's be honest, boys, the only reason we're doing any of this is to be happy. We want to enjoy a life that is fulfilling, and purpose will 100% do that for you, and learning is exactly where you get that from. Now, a good rule of thumb and a good rule of beginning to learn, if this is something that is not a kind of a routine regimented thing for you, is pick one book. Now, I will give you, first of all, I'll tell you, the best books that I read at the start of my self-improvement journey will be Never Finished or Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I would opt for Can't Hurt Me first. It's a better book. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. And I would also put in there what else? Make Your Bed. There is a book called Make Your Bed. That's a very good book. I would start with any one of these books and just see where the wind takes you after this point. You might find another book that you would rather over any of these. These are just suggestions. With said book, read 1 to 5 pages every day. Now, this is what I'm kind of making a point of here, is the fact that it's very simple to do things every day, but if you do too much of said thing every day, it's going to become hard for you to do, and you're not going to instill the habit. And what I would add as a kind of a little extra point here somehow is you will make mistakes on this journey. You'll find yourself thinking that you can put 25 of these activities in place, and by all means, do this. Go for it, mate. If you're someone who's, you're working on something and you think, yeah, I can add this in as well, do it, because you will learn from doing this. And what I will make the underlining point here about the whole learning curve that we're on here is anything you do will afford you the luxury of learning. And the reason it will do so is because it will either propel you towards what it is that is truly your calling. For me, mine wasn't music. I did music for a long time, and then eventually it kind of just got to the stage where I thought, this just isn't what I want to do anymore. But in turn, I learned 1, audio engineering, 2, how to speak, how just better communication, understanding myself, and 3, I learned the importance of putting myself towards something, of having a purpose. And this is the beautiful thing, is anything you do, mistakes in particular, will propel you forwards. And in that process, this is where you can put your mind in a state where you're constantly improving, because even when you make mistakes, that in itself is improving, because you're checking off one thing that wasn't worth doing, and now you're closer to the goals. So by all means, my personal advice with this, with the topic that is at hand today, the focus of my own on self-improvement, is to get yourself into a good physical shape, to get yourself into an understanding of the fact that delayed gratification is a fantastic thing to implement into your life, and also the requirement of a purpose. And what I'll underline this with is you will make mistakes, and that's fantastic. This is part of the process. This is okay. You will think that you know everything, and then you'll realise that you don't, and then you'll go round in circles of knowing things, not knowing things, feeling concerned, feeling euphoric. It's all part of the process. And what I'll underline this with is the real goal when it comes to self-improvement. When people talk about self-improvement, what they're saying is becoming closer to one's true self, becoming closer to who it is that you are as a person, understanding who it is that you are as a person. And I think some of the greatest ways that you can do this is putting yourself out into a more positive bodily state, physical appearance, to implement an understanding of the fact that you can take more than you feel you can. You will be okay if you're in the cold. You can make your bed for yourself. You can do push-ups. You can do these tasks that otherwise your brain would go, I can't really be bothered to do them. And you need a purpose. And the beauty with this, I say, I do not want anyone to come away from this, because a lot of people don't know a kind of where they want to direct their purpose. If you don't know, then that's fine. That is fantastic. What I will tell you to do is spend 10 minutes looking at any topic you can think of. It could be something you already know about, but you could say, just for instance, I personally at the moment, I'm finding a real interest in how states and religions and warfare breaks out, because I think it speaks of how the human brain can work on a negative perspective. So I've got someone on my feed who, if this is something you're interested in, is great, Johnny Harris. Here's who really won the war in Afghanistan. So if I was to watch that video, it's 21 minutes, you could watch that perfectly well, I would have a better understanding of some of the nuances that people don't know about. But the great thing with this is I can tell you for a fact, you get in a little loophole with this. You run down the rabbit hole, and in running down the rabbit hole, you continue to learn. What I would say, the overruling principle of today's video is commit yourself to the trials and errors of learning. Learn, 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 and you will do fantastically well if you learn. Now, I believe I've surmised this and covered this in as best of a way as I'd like to, without babbling on too much and without giving you. I was trying to find more than 3 examples for this, but I didn't want to just throw a load of shit out just for the sake of making it. I wanted to be as authentic to what you guys wanted as possible, because that's ultimately what I'm here for. So with that in mind, if anyone is either got any questions as a result of this video, or there are some things that you'd like me to clear up once more, then by all means comment down below, because I say these comments came through yesterday and I've got this video up today. I will, in every sense of the word, appreciate what it is that you put on here, and equally well, I'll get one of these videos up straight away, because that makes me happy, and I hope that you guys make me happy by doing that, and maybe I can help by giving you this in return. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much, and gentlemen, always keep it slick, keep it chill, and all the rest of it. Love you, boys.